Okay, so I'm the alternative entertainment tonight, so this is a little bit of fun. My name is Jim Davis, and the reason I'm up here is because we're celebrating the 15th year of smart manufacturing, 15th anniversary. And the reason I'm here is I'm the last person standing of the original three that got this started. They're still alive, but we are all a little bit older. So what I'd like to do is I've had a lot of fun going back into history, looking back at how all of this got started. And what we wanted to do today is kind of walk you through the timeline very, very quickly. But the real reason to do this is to celebrate a number of individuals who were actually key to smart manufacturing becoming smart manufacturing. If you go back to the very beginning, keep in mind that there was no smart manufacturing. The internet was brand new. There was no cloud. There was no security. There was a first surge of AI machine learning, and there were no Manufacturing USA institutes in existence. So this is the period of time that I'm talking about. Let me take you back to the very beginning. We like to think of the discussions of smart manufacturing starting in 2005, and there actually were four consortia in existence. One was Fiatech, and that was run by Jim Porter, DuPont, chief engineer. There was a control consortium out of UT Austin, Tom Edgar. There was computer aids in chemical engineering out of AICHE, or associated with the American Institute of Chemical Engineers. So Tom and I were involved with that. And then there was the Honeywell Abnormal Situation Management Consortium, and I was a member of that. None of those consortia were working together. There had been 2 decades of data and analytics, digitization of the industry, but nothing had really pulled together at that time. And cyber infrastructure had just become a thing. The internet was new. And the National Science Foundation said, could there be a role for cyber infrastructure and manufacturing? And the 2 people at National Science Foundation were Maria Burka and Bruce Hamilton. At that particular time, the National Science Foundation did not think that manufacturing and cyber infrastructure cloud went together at all. And so they persevered, and a workshop took place, but actually was a low priority relative to the leadership at National Science Foundation. But that workshop took place, and there was a couple of key individuals, Jim Porter, Jared Gibson at Dow, Kevin Harris at the ASM Consortium, Don Clark at Inventus, pulled together a write-up, a summary of part of the workshop, called it Zero Incident, Zero Emissions Smart Plant Operations. And from that, we were able, and I was co-chair of the workshop, we were able to pull together some terminology. We called it Smart, Predictive, Preventive, Proactive, Zero Incident, Zero Emissions Manufacturing. That's a mouthful. No one wanted to say it ever again. And so as a result of that, we called it smart manufacturing. So the first record we have of smart manufacturing actually being mentioned is in a letter of intent to National Science Foundation to form what we call an engineering virtual organization. We pulled that group together and we put together the first roadmap. And this is what it looked like. I'm not going to go through this in detail, but take a look at some of the words on this. Resilient, proactive plant operations. Knowledge to operating models, knowledge, I can't read it this close either, smart manufacturing process and so forth. Recognize any of those words today. Many of those are with us and were with us today at the conference. But that particular roadmap produced a whole group of people, Denise Swink from Department of Energy, Jared Gibson from Dow, John Bernardin from Rockwell, Peggy Hewitt took over the ASM Consortium, Neil Elliott from ACEEE, American Council for Energy Efficient Economy, and we have Peggy Hewitt down here on twice. That particular group became the core people who started this off. And that took us to 2009, and we formed what was called the Smart Manufacturing Leadership Coalition. And so this brought together, and the group became even bigger, but there were several in that leadership group that came together. One was Jim Wetzel, and what I'd like to do for the people who are here, ask you to come up John's going to give you a little commemoration of this anniversary, and then we're going to take a group picture if you can stand over here. So Jim, if you can come up. Jim Wetzel was key. Pete Sharp with Emerson is still with CESMII but not here this evening. Larry Megan is here this evening. At that particular time, he was with Praxair. Mike Sarley is retired from ExxonMobil, but at that time, the group of us put together a paper that became referenced in a notice of intent that I will mention in a little bit. And then there was Dean Bartles. Where did Dean go? There's Dean. And I will mention too that Dean's the epitome of serendipity, because we happened to be at a NIST conference about manufacturing. We happened to be sitting together, and we didn't know each other at all, and that's what actually brought us together and Dean into the picture. That takes us to 2010. We were not able to explain smart manufacturing very well yet at that time. Maybe you can still argue that, but at that time we could not. Sujit Chand, the CTO of Rockwell Automation, joined forces with John. Sujit and I wrote a paper, but Sujit is credited with this particular figure, which is the first rendition of smart manufacturing that really caught on, if you will, and caught on with the U.S. government. And again, I won't go through this, but it shows the scope of integration that we were talking about at the time. In 2011, if you recall, the Obama administration actually started up what was called Advanced Manufacturing Partnership 1.0. This started into the national discussions, and for those of you who heard me mention it today, in 2007, 2009 was the economic downturn, and that created all kinds of discussion around competitiveness. So we were running in parallel with those national discussions, and basically the government said, if you're so good, SMLC, put your mouth where your money is and tell us exactly how you would do this. So in 2011, we put together a workshop, and it was industry, academics, and governments all brought together. And again, I'm not expecting you to read this, but this was the outcome of 2011. And if you look in the blue box, you'll see the first mention of a smart manufacturing platform, and you'll see the first mention of what's called a toolkit, which is the predecessor to the profile as we talk about it today. What was most interesting about what's in that blue box is the industry bought into a concept without knowing what it was or is or was going to be. And so we've actually spent, since 2011, any number of years, and John has taken over the cause here, putting together what this platform looks like and all its different functionality going forward. So a lot has happened since 2011 in the buying of industry on that particular concept. So we got to 2011 and we said we got this plan of action. Let's put together a proposal to demonstrate this. So this is where Larry Megan came into play again, and this is where Dean Bartles came into play again. General Dynamics and Praxair basically provided access to their two plant facilities to very different applications, and the objective was to demonstrate how you could do smart manufacturing and use a platform to facilitate it. That brought together Bob Graybill, who is on the board of CESMII now. That brought together Prakashan Kornbeth. I'd like to introduce Prakashan, who is at UCLA, but a technical person who has been working on this platform since day one. And then there's Mark Besser. Where's Mark? And Mark Besser, at Savagen at the time, Symphony, Mark Besser took us into the workflow. Prakashan took us into all kinds of technical aspects on the platform. So we got some of the first platform put together, and we were able to demonstrate this. But what happened is we wrote the proposal. We used the proposal to put together what a platform looked like, but DOE did not fund the proposal right away. They didn't fund it until 2013. But National Institute for Science and Technology said, we're really interested in this. At least we want to understand this platform better. So Howard Harari, who at that time was with the Engineering Technology Laboratory at NIST, who is now on our board, Sudarshan Rachuri is here. So there's Sudarshan. So Sudarshan at the time was with NIST. running all kinds of smart manufacturing programs. And obviously, he's our program manager with DOE for CESMII. And there was Bill Primack, who is the contract manager who has been with us since day one. So this brings us to the national discussions, and this is my last slide, just to kind of bring this all together. So the national discussions were going forward, AMP 1.0. AMP 1.0 basically said, let's build these national network, let's build a national network of manufacturing institutions. And so they said to do that, let's create AMP 2.0. So Advanced Manufacturing Partnership 2.0. We were now primed to work with Advanced Manufacturing Partnership 2.0. The SMLC was an entity. It had become a 501c6. And what there happened then was a set of really important corporate workshops in which we're feeding this information together through industry and then to the government. And this is where Michelle at Corning, Haresh Malkani at the time was with Alcoa and Arconic, who we heard this morning. Jim Wetzel actually put one of these on, and then Tom Edgar put one of these on at an academic institution. Had 4 very, very key workshops, and what came out of this was a lot of interest in smart manufacturing. DOE issued what we called in November a notice of intent to fund. They had a whole program called Clean Energy Manufacturing Innovation Institutes, and they decided that they were going to fund one of these on smart manufacturing. So you can see where these came from. And so this actually gets to this last point where CESMII came from, is that we wanted to leave time to create a very clever acronym. And so we wanted to just put a placeholder together. And so all we did was we took DOE's term and put smart in front of manufacturing, said, let's leave it there for now until we can get this figured out. And what happened is someone from DOE pronounced it and said, well, that says CESMII, and we've never changed it since. So that's actually how CESMII became named. So I'm going to fast forward an entire decade almost now, and I turn to John, I'll turn to Ken Creasy, Haresh Malkani is the CTO, Howard Goldberg, the COO, and then Sudarshan, all direct part of the leadership team with CESMII, Sudarshan and Bill Primack. And this is, from my perspective, the new guard taking this forward, working with all of you to take CESMII forward. So again, this is the 15th anniversary of smart manufacturing. It actually is a thing. It's actually really happening now as a result of this group. And it's been such a pleasure to work with this group. A very, very dear set of colleagues and friends have come out of 15 years of process here. So thank you to everyone, and thank you to everyone for listening to this alternative entertainment. This has been a fun ride through history. Thanks very much. And John D.
One second. So before Jim steps off the stage, let me just say one thing. First of all, Industry 4.0 is how old? We've been talking about Industry 4.0 about 10 or 11 years now. Well, this set of folks on the vanguard of manufacturing here in this country were talking about smart manufacturing 15 years ago, which is an incredible testimony to their thought leadership and to the footsteps that we get to walk in today. We're here today because of the folks that you see here and the rest of the folks on the list. But at the pinnacle of that list is the gentleman that I'm honored to call my friend and my boss, Jim Davis. If there's a patriarch of smart manufacturing, he's it. He's a gentleman and a scholar and a great leader for this country in smart manufacturing. So, before he walks away, Jim.
Thanks, John.
All right, so we're going to keep this brief, but we at CESMII, and together with our partners here, the SME, the Society of Manufacturing Engineers, did want to recognize another group of innovative individuals and groups that have been really, with this set of thought leaders before us, have been a key part of how we're innovating and how we're driving this disruption in the smart manufacturing space. So I'd like to call those of you that are here to receive these awards to the stage briefly, just to acknowledge who you are. And first on this list is the Education and Workforce Development Award for Smart Manufacturing in 2022, and it's Joe Ciuffi from the Penn State University, New Kensington. The next Smart Manufacturing Innovation Award is essentially a team that consists of Jason Imson from Nutrition Bar Confectioners, a small manufacturer that has been doing an awesome job representing what a small manufacturer can do with contemporary smart manufacturing education, technology, and an executive support to drive cultural disruption into their organization. So there are 4 team members that are part of this incredible project with Nutrition Bar Confectioners. Jason Imson, they're not here. Henry Weber, the organization called GW Process Optimization that was there to help them and shepherd them along the way. Alan Gantz, also with the GW Process Optimization Group. And last but not least, on this team, Sarah Burlingame with the company TDO. This organization, this collection of individuals has done a phenomenal job representing what smart manufacturing can do for a small manufacturer called Nutrition Bar Confectioners. All right, in the category of energy productivity innovation, Mark McGinley, University of Louisville. And as part of that same project, under the banner of energy productivity innovation, Juan Tabares with Argos, the great cement manufacturing company. Under the category of smart manufacturing technology innovation, focused on technology applicable for small and mid-sized manufacturing in a highly innovative approach to bringing low-cost sensors and information into our innovation cloud platform and to the applications that can do something to create value of it. With it is Ananth Seshan from 5G Automatica. Under the category of smart manufacturing technology thought leader is Pete Sharp from Emerson, a gentleman who's been with us from the very beginning, has done some tremendous work to guide our technologies standing committee and our smart manufacturing profile standing committee. He's made a significant investment in CESMII and on Emerson's behalf and also on his own time, and it's been a privilege to work with him in this capacity. As some of you know, we have a new footprint of 7 smart manufacturing innovation centers across the country, and the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Center that we needed to recognize as representing significant growth and strategic engagement with their industry and with their region is the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, specifically led as the executive director with Craig Dory. And we've been honored to work with a small product company and an organization that represents real innovation for connecting legacy equipment to innovation and information systems. So specifically, I'd like to call on Aaron Moll with Toward Zero to accept this award. Under the category of Smart Manufacturing Project Leadership, we're proud of our engagement with CCAT and the application project that we've completed with them. And leading that incredible project team is Jackie Garofano with Connecticut Center for Advanced Technology. And last but not least, we have a small group of 4 individuals that we wanted to recognize as smart manufacturing visionaries. These are individuals that have been part of the smart manufacturing ecosystem for a while. They've been engaged far above and beyond the norm in terms of their passion for the space and their ability to, their desire to give back to the industry. So I'd like to call on Jim Wetzel, retired General Mills, current founder and president of NextGen. Michelle Pastel from Corning. Ken Creasy from Johnson & Johnson. And last but not least, Doug Lawson from ThinkIQ. So I hope you'll take the time to call out or look up some of these individuals and share your thoughts and your appreciation with them. And that's really it. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning on the show floor. Have a good night.